Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call.
Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call podcast. My name is Melissa Deely. I am your host, and this is a special Podapalooza episode. And today I have here with me Therese Vita. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
I'm excited for this episode and conversation. And the first thing that I want to do is introduce you to the audience. Therese Vita is a transformational executive leadership and life success coach with over 30 years of experience empowering high achievers to elevate their lives, their businesses, and their impact. A former attorney, sales professional, and private wealth advisor, she guides her clients to thrive through change, streamline their lives, make better decisions, and create more time and balance so they can live with more ease, joy, and fulfillment. And let's face it, that's what everybody wants in their life. And a big piece of that is also focusing on our health. Because when we focus on our health, then we have the energy to be able to do everything else in our life and live our mission, etc. And you have quite a history with, attorney, sales professional. What led you into this line of work and helping people the way that you are helping people today?
Well, my sort of jungle gym career, really, I found myself in professions that didn't necessarily, I got burned out in those professions. I discovered I had ADHD late in life, and maybe this explains some of it. But the tediousness of the legal work and research and writing and all of that's like death for an ADHD brain. Though I didn't know it at the time. But I burned myself out trying to find my home in the law, and I just couldn't find it. And then when I got into sales, that was really fun for me because I was able to just be myself, and I was in this flow state. And I just didn't know I had this skill set. And it was a beautiful thing. It was a very joyful time of my life. I was successful. I was having fun. And then I got into the corporate again with wealth management, and I did enjoy that for a while. But then when I got further along with getting farther from my clients, I just became burned out again. And again, like, this is all really bad health stuff. I was in a very bad place, physically, mentally, just the whole thing. So during COVID was when I really had my reckoning, right, with myself, as so many people did. And I just said, this is not living. I am not living.
Right.
And
you're certainly not thriving.
Right. And I'm not going to take anti-anxiety pills so that I can do my job.
Right.
I'm just done with that.
Right.
And so I really went on this quest to find, because I wasn't done. I was in my 50s, and I just wanted to find, I said, I need to do something completely different. And I read this book called Meeting at the Crossroads, or Standing at the Crossroads, for high achieving women. And it took me through a variety of exercises, what your personal values are, what are the things in this huge list, what's most important to you, what were you loving most that you were doing in your life? When were you having the most fun doing your work?
Right.
Or whatever you love, what about it made you happy? And I was like, wow, well, that really was, it was the sales and the training and the mentoring and the, talking to business owners. I mean, I just loved all that. And so I really sat down, and I'm a service person. I get great joy and fulfillment from volunteering and serving others and helping others live better lives. And it just, coaching just was it's my calling, vocation for me to, how I can serve with my gifts and talents and love what I'm doing, and have my own freedom and love my life and be able to design, as my own business, being able to design my life and my time the way that I would love to do it, so that I can live the life that I'd love to live. So that's what I really love helping people with. And as you said, without your health, you can't enjoy anything in life, right? Health is number one, and your body will be as good to you as you are to it, right? So it'll give you, you take care of your body, and it will take care of you. So
Absolutely. Well, I love that you have found your calling, and, the
thank you.
steps that you took to find your way here and literally design your own life. And I read a book years ago that my sister gave me, and it's called Designing Your Life. It's on my bookshelf here. And it was written by professors at a college in the US who were engineer professors. And they were watching these brilliant students go through their university degrees and, looked like they were on that trajectory to have a brilliant life, except that they weren't. And so they built this new course in for these students so that they could design their life the way they wanted it, so they could leave and be both successful and happy. And, that's what you've landed on yourself, is helping people design their life, because we can do that. And there's still
Absolutely,
a lot of
we
people
can.
that think we can't. We're programmed to, go to school, get your university degree, and then go work for somebody else. You're 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life. And there's all that old programming. And the reality is we don't have to follow that programming. We can design our life the way we want it to be for who we are. And
Yes.
love, love, love that you help people do that, and that you recognize that health is so important. So walk us through, perhaps a client that, you've worked with, that through your guidance, their life shifted profoundly for the better, and just share that, no naming names or anything. However, share that experience of guiding that client to their better version of their own life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, there's a woman, it wasn't a health issue, but I know that she has health issues, and she's going to be getting to those. But here's someone who is extremely bright, very, very, very bright, working in like a doggy daycare scenario. And I thought, this woman, she just seemed a little misunderstood, And I got talking with her, and I'm like, oh my God, she's so smart. Like, you see somebody at doggy daycare, and turns out that she had a divorce, and she was really looking to put her life together again, right? With a career and getting through the divorce. And she was just in a place where she did not have good self-esteem, and everything in life looked like a struggle to her. There were obstacles. Everything was just so enormous that she couldn't get beyond talking about all the difficulty in her life. And I have this program that is a system, but it's a 12-week curriculum, and it walks you through the steps of designing your life, and all the different pieces of it. Like, we don't usually ask ourselves. Well, so let me finish the story. So she ends up in week 8. So she had some trauma, that she was navigating. In week 8, she texted me a beautiful text, and it just warmed my heart. And she said, at 8 weeks in, she said, I am so much farther in healing and believing than I ever thought possible. And it just took the right program and the right person to challenge me mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that pretty much says it all, because the program really, you're looking at your whole life, right? And there's certain areas of our lives that are calling out to us for, you need to do something differently. And to be able to recognize that and really design something that is life-giving, that you don't look at your circumstances. And this is the world we live in. This is how human beings are, right? Particularly if there's health issues, right? Very, very difficult to imagine, sometimes navigating anything beyond that. But to say, well, if I were really, really healthy, I would love this in my life. I would love my relationships to be this way. I'd love to live here. I'd love to take vacations, or whatever it is that you would love most. Most people don't start with what they would love, because sometimes they think they can't have it, right?
Right.
I can't have it, or I don't have the money, or I'm not healthy enough, or whatever it is. And so
sometimes they don't even know what they want because they've been so focused on what they don't want.
That, and you know what? That is exactly the case. And the interesting thing, there's this results formula, and basically, the origin of our results in our lives, and there are certain things that, the body manifests a lot of what's going on in our minds. There's that huge mind-body connection. Mm-hmm. But a lot of what is showing up in our lives comes from our thinking.
Yes.
And the thoughts that we think produce our feelings, right? Our feelings aren't from you did something to me or this happened to me, but what you think about how you're experiencing it, right? What thoughts are you having? And then how you feel impacts what actions you take or what actions you don't take, right? If you're feeling confident or you're feeling depressed or down or insecure or whatever, we're going to take different actions based on our feelings. And then whatever we do, whatever action we do take is going to dictate the results that we get. That's just cause and effect. So if we can learn how to, identify what we'd like or love, or, start thinking in that way, and change our thinking, we can actually change our results. And there's a whole process for doing this. But, so this woman in this process, this client, she has just created this fabulous, she's reconnected with her writing and poetry, and she's horses and teaching and mentoring, and she's going to go live abroad. She's going to go live in Prague. And, this is just incredible. This is a woman who, 8 weeks prior. So the more we focus on something, our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between our attention and our intention. So if we keep if we're placing our attention on something we don't want, or that's negative, or we're dwelling in it, thinking about it, talking about it, we're just going to generate more of the same. And a lot of times we create with our words, right? And we create with our words and our thoughts. So we can turn our bodies around. We can turn our lives around. We can create new things in our lives. And health is number one. I'm a huge, your body's a temple, right? Your body is a temple.
Absolutely.
And you feed it with good nutrients and good thoughts and all the things that we need.
Exactly. And I love all that you're sharing, because it aligns with, so much of what we teach at Amplify Impact Academy as well. And everything starts with a thought, right? So if you don't like what's going on in your life, or you don't like, how you're feeling or what you're doing in the moment, just go back and rewind the thoughts. What were you thinking about that led, to that behavior, et cetera, or to those results, if it's been going on for even longer. And I love having people come on the show and share what I share because, the audience needs to hear it from more than just me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, thoughts come up for us. A lot of times we're subconsciously, our subconscious mind runs our
Our
lives. I
life.
mean,
Yeah.
95, yeah, it's running our life. So, you are probably, we're not aware of most of what is driving what we do, right? And
Exactly.
there's a lots of origins of that. But, yeah, if you're not aware of a pattern in your life, you can't do anything about it,
Exactly.
right? So that self-awareness
It's so
of your
important.
thoughts, and then how to neutralize, because anytime we're doing something new, right? Anytime we're exploring new territory, stepping outside the box, venturing out to, growing as a person, having new experiences, our nervous system is going to say, "Hey, wait a minute, this is not safe," or "This is,"
Yeah.
it's
I don't
it's
know where you're
going
going with
to,
this.
right, and it's all part of our design, right? Our survival mechanism, but understanding that isn't a sign to stop.
Right.
It's a sign that you're growing,
Yeah.
and having
Celebrate
tools.
that.
Yes, it's the good news, as I like to say. It's the good news.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, but having the tool and knowing how you deal with that pattern and how you repattern it and how you put it in the back seat, you turn down the volume, and you're thinking new thoughts, and you're creating life by design, not from circumstance, is really what I just get a charge out of and what I love watching people do.
Well, I love that. And congratulations in how you helped that woman. And, that's such a profound change in such a short amount of time, right? And
So it was just remarkable.
so often people think, oh, it's going to take such a long time to change, or I'm too old to change now. An old dog can't learn new tricks, and all of those sayings that we have, which it's all bogus. We
That's a
can change
story.
it anytime. Exactly. That's the story we're
Yeah,
telling ourselves in order to give us
that's
the
the
excuse
story.
and the out, right? We can change it anytime. And
Yes, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
we have so many neurons in our entire body, more than there are sands or grains of sand on all the beaches in all the world, right? All we have to do is change one to create a ripple effect of change in our life. And so
Absolutely.
someone who says they
And
can't change is very stubborn.
well, and I think sometimes like the thought of it is overwhelming,
Yes,
and the thing is, the thing that, our process is really, you take a step. You take a step that you can take from where you are with what you have, right? And you don't have to know how you're going to do it. I
exactly.
think a lot of people get stuck in, well, I have to know how I'm going to do it so that I will start doing it. No, that's not how it works.
It isn't.
It is, we get stuck in the how, the excuses, the doubt, the delay, well, I'm really okay. My life's pretty good. But your life can be great. And maybe your life isn't so great. Maybe there are things that you have just shoved down that you love, that you just haven't allowed to flourish because of your family commitments or whatever. Maybe there's something that you really would love to do. There was one guy, this business owner, he had a hobby. He loved drones, and he loved drones, and then through this program, this system, he ended up turning that into his business. He
Business.
turned
Yeah.
it into a business.
Yeah.
He got out of whatever he was doing, and he had such passion about it, and he wasn't thinking that way at all. But when you start sort of thinking about what you would love, right? What kind of leader would you love to be? What would you love to create in your company or your life or whatever? When you start thinking in those terms, and again, like, people don't give themselves permission or time to even do the things that we need to do, let alone to sit and dream, right?
Right.
So kind of self-assessments, I always encourage people to kind of, look at your life and, on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you and where would you love to be? Right? And
Yeah.
what does it take to move that needle up one, or whatever, or up two? And you don't just get there overnight, but things can happen very, very quickly when you dial in on what you would love and
And
get
you'd
really
start by
get a
moving
lot of
it.
clarity.
Start by moving the needle by one. That's all. Just start by moving it by
Right. You
one
can't,
and see what happens from there. So,
exactly.
Therese, I love to ask every client that comes on this podcast, what does "don't wait for your wake up call" mean to you?
Oh, well, that what it means to me is live and lead boldly, which is kind of what I say is, yeah, I mean, we only get one life, and you don't get your time back at the end of the day, right? Our time doesn't accumulate and go in the bank and then we have it tomorrow. And I always say, if you knew that you had 1 year to live, or 3 years to live, or 5 years to live, how would that change the way you live today? You know, it's just when something happens, it totally changes your perspective, right? That wake up
Yes.
call.
Yes.
But just think of all the unlived life. I just, I don't want people putting off their life, putting off living their life. Today becomes tomorrow, becomes next year, becomes 5 years from now. I mean, all of a sudden I'm in my 60s and I'm going, oh my God, how did that happen? Right. And that's how it happens for people.
Yeah.
And so, if you're on a trajectory, it's not going to change unless there is some sort of a force that's coming in. You must do something different to make new results in your life. And it doesn't have to be as hard as people think it is. They're making it hard. We make it
Right.
hard on ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Because we get in our own way. And it does take some effort. However, you have the easy button to help them get there versus it being hard. So,
Well,
how can
that's
people
why.
get hold
Yeah.
of you if they would like to reach out and work with you?
Oh, well, thank you so much. So yes, one way, and I actually have a free gift for the listeners. So if you go to liveandleadboldly.com, you can sign up to receive a free, it's a self-assessment, a mindset self-assessment. And again, this kind of takes us back to our thoughts. A lot of times we don't realize the thoughts we're thinking. And you can just go through and check off the ones that you can see yourself falling into, right? And are those empowering or disempowering beliefs? And then there are some exercises that you can do to, ground in something more powerful, empowering, that is, again, we create with our words. So not only do we think it, but we say it out loud. And so how to reframe that. It's a great starting place for creating awareness, right? So,
Beautiful. Well, thank you. I'm just looking at the time here, Teresa. I'm going to wrap up the show.
yes.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom and how you help people and giving such powerful examples of how you have helped people. Thank you too for your free gift. And I highly encourage the audience, if you are interested in designing your own life, instead of just being in this place where life happens to you, get out there and create the life you want. Therese can help you with that. And please reach out to her at liveandleadboldly.com. Check out her free gift, her mindset self-assessment. And if this episode resonated with you, that's a sign. That's a sign from the universe that yes, this is the path that you should follow. This is the breadcrumb for you to pick up and follow, or share this episode with someone else that you know that needs to hear it. Thank you for always tuning in to learn more about improving your life, your health, your mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and emotional health. I am pleased to share with you a new training called Karma Code Timeline Therapy Practitioner Certification. This training is a powerful 3-day live on Zoom session teaching you how to help others in clearing all of their stuffed down emotion of anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, rage, and shame.
without them having to talk about any of the situations that ever caused the root of that anger, and release it from the cells in their body and have them feeling light. And also to release all of the BS stories running around in our head of being unlovable, unworthy, not good enough, powerless, etc., etc. And get rid of all of that chatter and allow them to have peace and quiet in their head. This training is transformational for your clients and for you, because during the training, you get to experience it both as a practitioner and a client, and release all of that garbage for yourself and clear out your emotional body, your mental body, and keep them clear so that all of that stuffed down emotion isn't causing dis-ease later in your life. Check out the show notes for the link. Our first training is happening in 2026.